the match between Sundowns and Al-Hilal, to me, it was the best match in the CAF Champions League. The way they played.
Sundowns did not really play the way I wanted them to play. There were a lot of lapses in that their team.
Best of football in Africa and around the world. My name is Albert Israel Jr. Welcome and welcome once again. I'm right here in the studio with my man, Chima Samuel. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
How was your weekend?
Very fine, yes.
It was fabulous as well. So let's run into CAF Champions League game that pan out within the week and throughout the weekend. So but let's look at the game between Power Dynamos and Rivers United. That match was played in Levy, Wanasa Stadium in Zambia. It ended 0-0 at the end of the day. Though that game was very, very rocky. That game, the Zambian side lost a lot of chances thanks to Sher Abiodun Akonde, the goalkeeper of Rivers United. They came very, very close about 4 times, but they couldn't convert their chances. So what say you about that game? Rivers United versus Power Dynamos in Zambia.
The game, the goalkeeper, Osagi, was my man of the match for the Rivers United because he made a couple of saves. He saved about six chances for Power Dynamos. I know both of them, they have lost their 2 games. They lost to FC Bakani, and they lost to which other team again? In their group. We have Power Dynamos, Rivers United, FC Bakani, and the other team that played goalless, Pyramids and FC Bakani. So when you talk about that game in total, I see when I was watching the game, I was a bit impressed with Rivers United because what Rivers did, if they have been playing like this in other games, even when they played home, to the last game before this game, they played against FC Bakani and they lost that game. They conceded silly goals 2 minutes to the end of the game. About 1 minute to the end of the game, they considered silly 2 goals. They were leading the game 1-0. Unfortunately for them, they have to lose that game at home. Now, going to Power Dynamos. Power Dynamos 2, they were 0 points before this game. So, Rivers 2, 0 points before this game. But they came there. Both of them shared the point. They did well, honestly, even though the pitch was not friendly. I did not really like the pitch, what I saw in that game. But Rivers United were Taiwo, the left back, he did very well in that game. He was able to push and he was very, very composed in that game. And then the centre back as well too, they had some lapses. Although I like what Finidi George did, when you spot a loophole in your team, no matter how early it is, if you feel that this thing cannot continue like this, and if it continues, it's going to affect the team, you have to make sub. Around 37 minutes or so of that game, Ogechukwu was substituted in that first half because the opponent, Power Dynamos, they were using him to penetrate into the 18-yard box, and Finidi George have to, he spotted that particular challenge, and then he brought the guy off. So I love the way they played. In that midfield, they were fighting. Taufik too, as well, that was playing from side. He also fought. Ubon from their skipper fought so hard. Then coming back from Zambia with 1 point. I think it was a very good game. They had 6 shots on target against Rivers United, and the keeper saved a lot of balls for them. So Osage for me was the man of the match. The ball possession was 50-50. Rivers United tried so well. Corner kicks at 2-2. A corner kick, but just that yellow card, 0 for Power Dynamos, 2 for Rivers United. So it was a very good game for Rivers United, and I love how they play. At least getting a point, even if you have to bow out of a group stage, you should not just go out without getting a point. Even though I see that group as a group of death in that in this CAF Champions League, but if they can get a draw, now the Power Dynamo, they are going to come to Rivers as well to play the return leg, I think, next week. So if Rivers United can at least get a victory, even if it is 1-0, to come out victorious, they are going to be on 4 points. And then, who knows, maybe one of those top teams on top of the log can easily fall one way or the other. At least, even if they are going to go out, they should go out with pride and not just losing out like that without any points.
All right. I want to put Nigeria, the Nigerian team, the Rivers United, in the spotlight. If you look at teams in Africa competing in the Champions League, let's say, for instance, like Mamelodi Sundowns, right? Pyramids, right, of Egypt, Al-Hilal, and some other team. Okay, let's just put even a team like Zamalek. If you see the way they approach their games, they play their football with good flair, as if they are European side. The top three South African team, maybe the Kaiser Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, though with fitness, a kind of flair of the game. But there's something I noticed about the Rivers United side. I think Finidi is looking only on fitness of the player. Are they fit? Are they fit? But the kind of football they play, to me, is not exceptionally well, because it was as if they were trying to play the kind of power tussle game that the Power Dynamos were actually playing. Don't forget, the defense line was leaked about 6 occasions. They came close to scoring, but the strikers couldn't convert their chances. Are you getting it? But if the Rivers United were a side that was maybe very calm, as intellectual player in the midfield that could create chances, they would have created more chances. But I think I think the Nigerian team is only looking at the fitness side of football rather than looking in other things work in football. The technicalities, the tactics, how they play, how they approach a game. I think we are very, very far from that. Are you getting it? Comparing to other football clubs in Africa, the Al-Hilal, the Pyramid, Mamelodi Sundowns, and what have you, Orlando Pirates. Don't you think that as well is one of the major factors that is affecting Nigerian football, so to speak?
Yes, it's a very big factor affecting Nigerian football. And if you watch, most times, not only on Rivers United, in the Nigerian league, even in many African countries, apart from these more developed African countries, like we talk about PSL league, players like maybe when you are playing for Mamelodi Sundowns, where you can easily represent your national team. And then you talk about the Moroccan side as well, the Egyptian side. They also have flexibility in their game, but sometimes Africa totally believe in power when they are talking about football, but it got worse in Nigeria, because in Nigeria there's no facilities. And if you come to sign for any team, if you are coming for trial, the first thing they look at is your physical aspect
That's
of
always
it.
the problem.
So when they look at your physique first, firstly, in Nigeria, if you go to, out of the 20 top Premier League teams, if you go to 20 of them for trial, 18 teams, they will first of all look at your physique before they will even allow you to play. If you look smallish, or if you look like you are somehow, flexible, they feel like maybe you might not be able to cope with the physicality of the league. And then that physicality now makes, when people are going to play in Nigeria, they focus more on bodybuilding. They focus more on the power. That is the fact. They focus more on the power aspect, especially if you're a center back. If you're a center back in Nigeria and you cannot fight with Anthony Joshua, or you cannot lift heavy weight, they will not sign you. Even if they sign you, they will not play you, because they believe that the center back must have weight, he must be tall, he must be huge, even if it is not that flexible. That is how we have structured our football to be. And it's very bad. That is why it's very difficult for us to see players growing from Nigeria League to European League directly, or growing into the Super Eagles national team. If you watch the Super Eagles team, if you watch players like Calvin Bassey, despite having power, but at least in one way or the other, they have that flexibility. They can make use of the ball very, very well. If you see Ajayi, if you see now, if you come to the midfield now, Wilfred Ndidi is smallish in size, but he can play the midfield. He can dazzle. He can touch the ball. It will be small, but Wilfred Ndidi, players like them cannot go to Nigerian League and pass trials. They will not even give them chance. They will not even sign them at all. So that is why it's very difficult, because when these Europeans come to sign players, they want players that can be very flexible. They want players that can. So if you are talking about the Nigerian League now, it's a thing that it boils down to the management boils down to the team coaches, because when you sign a coach and all what the coach wants is a player that will be so physical, that when they are playing, they play from back. If you see where they are kicking the ball, man, you see the kick ball, like you will hear the sound, boom, 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 boom. So how can the football grow like that? So, and when they come to training as well too, our training programs as well matter so much, because now when you come to watch some of this club side, you'll be so shocked that the type of training that the coach is giving her is training that will only make this guy physically strong, and you will not find a training or any training session that will make these guys flexible. No, you see where they run every day by day. They run. Even if they set a cone for them to do ball work, they donate little time to ball work than even the physical aspect of. So they physically believe more in the physical aspect of believing that if you are strong, that is only when you can win match. So that is why it always affects African teams when they go to play international game, because when you are too strong, you are too physical, it will be difficult for you to control the game. You can only be marking. Even in marking, if you meet sneaky players that can dazzle the ball around, you struggle to turn and turn. So it's a very big challenge for Nigerian League. And if this team must change, it must start from coaching courses. It must start start from this our coaches. They need to change their mentality about the type of player. In fact, they even turn some players. If you watch, if they get some players from maybe those players that go to play for under 20, under 17, if they sign Nigeria League, their style of play will change a little bit. It will change somehow because they will change their game from being flexible to being power play. Yes, it's good to have power player, but not everybody, not in your team. You have about 90 to 80% of power play players. No, it's very, very wrong. You should have players that even if you are playing a DM, does not mean that you must look physically strong. Yeah, even though it's part of it. So Nigerian football need to grow more than just being physical.
All right, nice one. Let me just be a critic. I want to put you on this now. If you look at the jerseys, that's why sometimes when I want to ask a question or I want to analyze this game of football, I like giving a basis for comparison, right? Because there must be something that actually motivates you. If you are in a class and you have people that always pick up first, second, third, and you're always coming 10 and 12, right? You want to work very hard so that at least you two can pick up first, second, or third. Now, if you look at the jerseys, I want to be a little bit be a critic on this. Look at the jersey the Zambian side was putting on, the Power Dynamos, right? And the jersey the Rivers United are putting on. They're putting on their traditional blue jersey. The Power Dynamos are putting on their traditional yellow jersey. But the quality of those jerseys is far, far way behind jerseys teams like the North African teams, the South African teams. I get what I'm trying to say. Is sponsorship actually the issues of these jerseys, or perhaps this country government or their football administration is not actually putting much investment or putting much should I say political will in these football clubs?
Sponsorship may be part of it, but the biggest problem we are having in Nigerian League now is packaging, the branding. I feel like the branding of Nigerian League is so poor because even there are teams in Nigeria that don't play Nigerian League, but they have better branding than most so-called Nigerian Premier League teams. This
boys. Are you talking about academies?
Yes, I talk about academies. Even so many traveling teams in Nigeria that even when you see their branding, if you see their bosses, if you see the way they engage themselves, even on the internet, is so even far better than so-called Premier League club side. Why? It boils down to management, mentality. This same thing happens to Nigerian government. We complain about the government, not because there's no money, because if I want to talk about sponsorship, yes, sponsorship is part of it, but I don't want to believe that sponsorship is the only reason, because if you cannot manage the little money that you have with you to bring out something that people can see and appreciate, which assurance are you giving us that even if they give you 100 million to do something that you are going to do it? These branders, these sponsors, sometimes they want to see something special. They want to see you take some certain steps. They want to trust you to some extent that if we give you money to do this thing, what can you do with it? Some of these sponsors, they even prefer to go and sponsor academy teams. Okay, look at the likes of Dangote, Boa, that we have been talking about. They can easily promise Super Eagles millions of dollars, but they cannot come and bring that money and say, okay, I'm investing this money into Nigerian League. Why? Maybe because they don't trust the people involved. Now, if you talk about a team like Rivers United now, you can't tell me that money, if you have the right person as a coach, if you need the judge as a coach, he has played this football, he knows this game very, very well. Now, if you're having a manager, if you're having a management, it is because you are seeing that this Rivers United are playing CAF Champions League now. That is why you can Google the match before the match starts, and you can easily see the names of the people that are starting the match. Now, the jerseys might not even be a big problem, but if you want to get a better jerseys, in this country, in Nigeria, there are many companies that can produce jerseys. Even not all these top countries, all these polos that we wear in this country, they are being made by, even if you go to Aba in Nigeria today now, Aba made, that we used to talk about Aba made, they can produce you with a very better quality jersey in a lower cost. But these people that are in charge of these clubs, they tend to turn deaf ears to some of these things because they are not into it. There are many club sides in Europe, Czech Republic, Croatia, some other European countries that many Nigerian league teams can even afford that club. But because of the branding, because of the mentality, because they are white, even if they are playing third division team, they like to brand their team, present their team in a very better way, so that when you see them, at least they can attract sponsors. Now, if you have teams play for Nigeria League. Now you qualify to play CAF Champions League as Rivers United. What does it cost to get a better jersey? It costs you little or nothing. There are many companies that are even ready. We have Owu in Nigeria here. So Owu can even produce a better quality jersey. Then, if you talk about the branding as well too, we have just one laptop or two laptops. If you employ two graduates to undo your club this thing. You cannot go to Rivers United website now or their official fan page and see updated pictures or updated things that are about the club side, the way you see it in Europe or all these other well-established African countries. This does not only boil down to sponsorship. This boils down to the people managing our football. The people managing our football, if they have this kind of mentality that they want their club side to be the best like other African countries, let not even go far. You see that a lot of things will change, and when things are changing, it will attract sponsors to our league. But these sponsors, they stay one corner. They want to see what you are even doing with the league too. Government are releasing funds for some of these clubs, even though sometimes we might hear it and feel like, okay, the full money did not get to them, but the little money getting to these people, and they make a lot of money, even going for away matches, home matches. Sometimes these people get a lot of money that it might not be big to, but to them to do little things. What is that money doing for them? So the way Nigeria are branding their team is so poor that it might not even attract sponsors to our league.
All right. That is a good thought from you. But let's go into the one of the best games of the CAF Champions League, the match that was played between Mamelodi Sundowns and Al-Hilal at Loftus Versfeld Stadium in Pretoria. That game was unarguably the best amongst all the CAF Champions League game that was played over the weekend. The game came out a 2-2 draw. Goals was scored by Ator Sales in the 21st minute, Tebo Mokoena in the 63rd minute, while Abdel Rauf scored in the 14th and 17th minutes for 14th and 17 minutes for Al-Hilal. That game was something else. And one of the good things about the game, that all the goals were lovely goals. The Mokoena goal was about 32-yard screamer. He shot it to the top right corner of the post. The game was lovely. It was as if I was watching maybe a European Champions League. Are you getting it? The game was top notch. They came all out. They came in just as I was giving a comparison between the Rivers United and Power Dynamos. These teams played even to their jerseys, the jersey they wore, the stadium, it was filled to the brim, the kind of football they play. You understand? All departments were functioning as if they were playing in European football. So what say you about the game? What's your thoughts about the game?
Firstly, when I saw the game, the first thing that came to my mind was the floodlight. The match was played in the night, and everywhere was bright. And I was so happy that in Africa, at least, we can have stadiums where we play night matches, because I know that in some part of Africa, that match might not be able to take place at that time, because the stadium light might not be complete. So, firstly, it shows good development, because if many African countries can get club side having their stadiums well equipped like that, it will enable so many good footballing environment. So kudos to Sundowns. Now playing against Al-Hilal as well, they are not a small team. Coming to the Nations Cup, they had about 8 to 9 players that played for Al-Hilal that came to the to the AFCON for Sudan as well. So they also possess national team materials, just like Sundowns as well too. But when you check the Sundowns players, just exiting AFCON just ended, and so many players coming back maybe with injury, with fatigue, and the league have not started properly, even though the league have resumed. But I feel like it played a little bit of role. Sundowns did not really play the way I wanted them to play. There were a lot of lapses in that their team. They started with Williams. Kuliso Mudau started from the right side. Mudau is one player that I love him. I love the way he plays, but I feel like when you come to Mamelodi Sundowns, when it comes to CAF Champions League, when it comes to PSL, there should be a level in which you are operating, that when you are playing, people can easily see that this is a national team material. Mudau now has become a national team material for a very long time, and I feel like his game should have advanced beyond what he's playing currently. In that game,
considering his age,
no matter the age, he is. I watch Amrabat in Wydad Casablanca. I watch Ziyech in Wydad Casablanca, despite being older players, but they bring in some certain level of experience. When they hold the ball, when they touch the ball, you could easily see that these guys are well experienced, even though they don't have the energy again. Mudau prefers to play more with power than experience. So, and I feels like he need to change his game. He need to up his game somehow, because if you are playing a league match now in South African league, if you're playing against any team, maybe Marumo Gallants, Golden Arrows, all of those things, no disrespect to them, but if you are playing against those teams, players like Mudau and other players that are national team players should be on top of their game, that there should be a very big difference, that the national team coach can easily see that, wow, I think this guy, why have they not invited? If you don't know the player, you should tell somebody watching with you that, this guy is supposed to be national team. They will tell you that, yes, this guy is playing for national team. I don't know if you are getting my point, but the same thing does not apply with Mokoena. Every time Mokoena plays, Mokoena is a very good player. Even on a very low day when Mokoena is not on top of his game, you hardly see Mokoena lose his ball. You hardly see Mokoena play below performance, because Mokoena is always, in fact, Mokoena makes it so difficult for you to sub him. In that game, Mokoena was absolutely fantastic in that game. But Mudau, yes, he played well, but people might see him running up and about. In that right back, I want to see a Mudau that will mark with experience, not with power. I want to see a Mudau that when he's attacking, he attacks more, even like a midfielder, because he will be so comfortable with the ball, trying to dash into the midfield, trying to bring in assist or bring in puller, well calculated. So I don't want to see Mudau playing against another African club side, and then you'll be struggling with the player on that position, players that are not on your level. So then that means you also, your game have dropped. But Mokoena is not in that level. Look at what Mokoena played. Look at the second goal he scored for Sundowns. So in that game now, Sundowns, they did not, although I did not see Modiba, I did not see Renas, I did not see some certain players, even Marcelo Allende played, Santos too played, and they had some new signing, and there was this young boy too, Tatu Sibia, 19 years old. He started the game, he was sub up around 66 minutes. He's a new boy that was promoted, that is beginning to find his way into limelight, and he's doing well as well too. Then Williams too. Sundowns had about, if you watch the statistic of that game, ball possession, Sundowns had 78 ball possession to compare to 22 Al-Hilal. Now coming to shot, Sundowns had 13 shots in that game against Al-Hilal, 3 shots. Now shot on target, 5 for Sundowns, 2 for Al-Hilal. And guess what? Al-Hilal scored all their 2 shots on target. Sundowns scored 2 out of 5. The Sundowns defense exposed. In fact, the second goal that Al-Hilal scored was almost exactly the same pass, the same way Sundowns scored their first goal. They allowed these guys into the game. So their defense line let them down in that game. They were not composed. They opened up a little bit of defense line. Maybe that young boy that played from the left by the Tatu, with time, at least I cannot fault him too much. He's still a young boy. Give him that experience too. Will also do good for Sundowns in future. But in that game now, that group now is wide open. Summer. Sundowns had about 8 corner kicks, and Al-Hilal had just 1 corner kick. So Sundowns had all the old chances to have won that game, but they let that victory slide in there. Now, if you play 2-2 draw against a team like this, if now by next weekend they will be traveling to Sudan to go and play, and going to Sudan to go and play Al-Hilal will not going to be very easy for them, because home advantage is going to play, and the Sudanese team too, they were very good on that day. I won't lie, they were good. They did not just come to defend, they attacked Sundowns in one way or the other. So I'm scared for Sundowns, because with that performance, but I know they are going to put their ass together, because they signed a couple of new players or that came into that game. What is this called? There's one Colombia player, and then Brian Leon as well came in the 46th minute. He did well somehow. So, but I feel like maybe some of these guys that were not available for this first match, maybe they are going to put their ass together. Then there's one controversial red card that was given to Sudanese player. There's no VAR in the group stage now, so I feel like that red card was very controversial somehow. Even though somehow, if there was still VAR, maybe they would have still given it. But I think in CAF Champions League still requires a level of officiating and there. But there was a foul play too between a Sudanese player and a Sundowns player towards the end of the match after the red card, where the Sudanese player went to hit Sundowns player even without the ball. In fact, that one was supposed to be a red card for me, and in fact with 4 or 3 match ban for that Sudanese player, because that was very, very aggressive, that was a wicked or a malicious act. So VAR need to come into, although VAR will start from knockout stages, but at this level now, African football has gone to a level where we have so many national team players playing in African football. So definitely VAR need to change that that mentality of only have, although they made some complaint that because of the stadiums about high profile matches like that, Sundowns against Al-Hilal, where you have two national team players that will be involved, it's going to be a very high tempo game too as well. So you need high level of officiating in that game. So, but then again, it was a good game. It's football. There's going to be some kind of controversy, but Sundowns going to that game. Let me check their group, the standing of Sundowns currently, because that their group, they are in. Sundowns is in Group C. They are still topping with 5 points now. Al-Hilal is second with 5 points. Hello Lupopo also won their game against MC Algiers at home 1-0. And I said it before that the way Hello Lupopo played against Sundowns at home, they are looking like a team that can win almost all their home matches. Now, beating MC Algiers at home was a very good one. That means they have thrown the group open, because now Sundowns too will still go to Hello Lupopo to play. So Sundowns, if they want to stand their ground, they need to win all their home matches and then maybe probably get a point away. Now 5 points with Al-Hilal. If they go back to Al-Hilal next weekend again, if Al-Hilal wins, Al-Hilal will top. If they draw, they will remain. And so Sundowns must not lose to Al-Hilal in the return leg match next weekend if they want to top this group.
Okay, let's look at something critical in this Champions League. I did make mention of the match between Sundowns and Al-Hilal. To me, it was the best match in the CAF Champions League. The way they played, perhaps because maybe they have national team players, in the both clubs, the Sudanese team and the South African national, the Bafana players, even their inspirational captain is in Sundowns. That's why such performance. But if you look very well, if you look at the Champions League, from Power Dynamos versus River United was 0-0, Esperance Simba 1-0, St. Eloi Lepopo, SM Algiers 1-0. You see, it's like a goal drought. It's like a goal famine. No goals. But only that match produces 4 goals. Are you getting it? So, I don't know. African football, they barely score goals. Why is it like that? If it were in the European Champions League, sometimes we'll see 6-1, 5-1. If this team has power over this, right, it will ensure that it wins you convincingly. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So now, because the African football, let me just put it this way, African football is being shown on national screens throughout the world. So there is no way somebody will say one referee is supporting the home side. They are playing, you understand, what they know how to play best. But my argument here all the time is that why is it that African teams don't produce more goals when they are playing against themselves in the CAF Champions League?
Well, one of the major reasons because the levels of the opponents are not too different from each other. And when the level are not too different from each other, and then the style of play, when the away team is going to play, they always have that mentality that they don't want to win, but they don't want to lose. Everything that is going for away game in Africa, they believe that they want to go and get a draw. But in UEFA Champions League, in UEFA competition, there's nothing like home and away, even though home and away plays in, but they believe that let us just go there and enjoy good football. Why Sundowns zone was like that was because, to be honest, there was a fair play, there was a fair officiating, apart from the controversial red card, which if there was VAR, maybe VAR would have helped, so I could not blame the referee. So, but it was not as if Sundowns were not playing that we must win today. If they have played better, they will have won. Are you getting my point? If they have converted their chances, they will have also, nothing like the referee was officiating to help Sundowns win the game, all of those things. So, but in some of these African countries now, these are one of the things we could see what played out in AFCON too as well. These are some of the challenges we are facing in African football now, where home team must win syndrome. And when that home team must win syndrome, the away team is already having in mind that if I'm going to this game, they might rob me or the officiating will be against. They're already assuming that the officiating is going to be against them. So they go there getting prepared, playing 10 man behind the ball all the time. So they believe that they don't want to come out to play. There's no basis of like the games are not always on 50-50 ground. They are not coming here to come and win. They just come here to get draw. And when you are coming to come and get a draw, it's very difficult for the opponent to score. So it makes the game more boring. So that is why when you are watching African football most time, you just see that it's always maybe on if you are playing bet under 1.5, under 2.5 full man, you hardly, even if you see big teams in Africa playing against a smaller team in African Champions League, you hardly see them winning conveniently like 4-0, 5. It's so difficult. So and it calls for concern in African football, because if this thing continues like it will kill the African football. If there's free flow football anywhere, if you like, come to my home and play your game. Officiating will be okay. And if I provide a very good top, look at the top where Power Dynamos played Rivers, and the turf was not that okay. So it makes the opponent that tough. Now you only get used to it as your home team. When away team is coming to play on such top, you will not perform well. Look at Eloy Lupopo and Orlando Pirates, what they complain about. When you want to play against Eloy Lupopo, they will take you to a ground that is not that okay to play, even though CAF approve, but maybe a night before the match, they might find a way to make the pitch unbearable for you to play, just to scatter your game plan. All these things don't happen in Europe. You cannot go and play match against Man City or Real Madrid. Now you now see them making ground unbearable for their opponent. They made the ground bearable for you that wants to play. They forget about the opponent.
But another funny thing is here is if they take a team here in Africa to a ground that is unbearable, the opponents who are still playing on the same pitch.
But it's as if when you buy a car and the door of the car is not good, it's only you that is the driver that know how to open the door. Okay. If you carry a passenger or another person, if the passenger want to come down, you tell him wait, don't open, let me come and open. You see the driver come down and come and open, because why? The driver knows how to open it by himself. So now the home team, now they already know that this place is not good, this part of the pitch is not good. So they already they practice down on how to make it on how to make it out the pitch. So they destabilize you that are coming to play good, because you don't know what you are expecting. You understand me now? If you take teams like Sundowns that plays on a very good pitch, if you take them to that Popo, now you see now Mokona will struggle to hold on to the ball, because his style of play, he does not want to lose the ball anyhow. But when he now sees a ground that is not okay, he began to when he passes ball 2-3 times and the ball is not getting to where he wants the ball to go, the next thing you already play Mokona out of the game. But Popo now knows that this ground no good. Once they collect the ball, they fling the ball to the opponent's half already.
I remember playing some pitch that time in Obudu, away match in a Nigerian Amateur League, that some part of the pitch are looking as if they are like slope. But the opposition team, the opponent knows the pitch more than the away team that is coming. But I haven't said that, CAF Champions League, but I want to put you on the spotlight. Which 3 teams do you believe can go all the way to the final, given that you've watched from the group stage, their performance and all of that? Which 3 teams do you feel can fill in that semi-final or final spot come the CAF Champions League final? Which 3 teams do you think has actually performed well, that actually convinced your heart? 3 teams.
I think it's still early somehow now, because they have just played only 3 matches, and they will still play another test 3.
Yes, that's why I'm putting you. That's why I'm putting you on the spot. Yes.
Group, I will have been rooting for Sundowns, but the way I've been watching Sundowns games so far, they have not really impressed me, especially playing at home. They have not impressed me so far. Maybe from this second start, sometimes a team might not play badly
in the group stage. Yes.
And then when they qualify to the knockout stage, the whole teams will change. The whole scenario will change, especially considering the team you want to play in away matches. Because now I feel like maybe these people, they group Sundowns with all these giddy back people, and they are not making things easy for Sundowns at all. Not because they are better than Sundowns, no, but because they are coming with the mentality of ruggedity and they just want to spoil things. So Al-Hilal too are a good side too, but I see these North Africans as well to going far, because if the referees don't stand their ground, don't continue, this North African, they have a way of challenging ref. They have a way of playing the kind of football that will make you get annoyed, and then that will make the referee plays for, especially any game they are playing at home. They must find a way to intimidate you somehow. So Al-Hilal is still in the boss for me. Then you see Sundowns too still in the boss for me as well. Then if you talk about the other group, Stade Malien, no. Experience of Tunis too is in second. Good. Just because this thing has to do with a lot of experience. Some of these teams that might struggle and qualify.
Yes. So when they qualify, they produce on that different kind of play.
Yes. So their players will begin to come to the pass. So I will still give it to Sundowns and Al-Hilal so far. Then maybe one other team again. But what I'm seeing Al-Hilal doing, I see Al-Hilal going far as well too, from what they have played against Sundowns.
So you are not rooting for Rivers United?
No. I know that Rivers United will be Rivers United will find it difficult to even come out of that.
From that group.
I see Pyramids.
Pyramids, okay.
Yeah, Pyramids or Bakani. Okay. Because Rivers United cannot survive that group as it stands like, because now Pyramids 7 points. Bakani 7 points after 3 games. Rivers and the Power Dynamos have 1 point so far. So, but I just love the fact at least against Power Dynamos they were able to get a point. So if they can win that one, 4 points. But I'm not sure if they can displace either Pyramids or Bakani. But even if they don't qualify, if they can win these matches as well, at least get 4 or 6 points, I'll be so happy for them. At least they should not just go out like, because every goal you score, have a little bit of money comes with it. Then every point, not just playing as Rivers United, just go out like that. But in this team, this competition, from knockout stage, that is when I can know those that are very serious.
All right, before we draw the curtain on this, just briefly, I want to get your thoughts on this. After the back-to-back Champions League dominance by Enyimba 2-3 and 2-4 Champions League, no Nigerian team has played in the semi-final in the CAF Champions League. Do you think it's because of our league, sponsorship, or the kind of football we play? You know, we spoke about fitness, without having that creativity in the midfield, or strikers that can actually convert chances, defenders that can actually defend well. Are you getting it? Because it's so bad that the footballing nation like Nigeria, since 2004, won the Champions League last, the CAF Champions League. No Nigerian team. 2040 now is when? 214, 20, about 22 or 24 years ago, right? So no Nigerian team has played in the semi-final for up to 24 years. What do you think is the issue? Briefly on that, what's your thoughts on that?
Rivers United so far now, they are topping the league in FPFL and they're playing in CAF Champions. They are the only Nigerian surviving team. Remo Stars won that league last season and they were knocked out by Mamelodi Sundowns from the qualifying stage. Now, this has nothing to do with sponsorship, because sponsorship will not play the ball on the field of play for years, even though sponsorship have a long way to go. Since when Enyimba won that CAF Champions League, Enyimba had quality players.
Don't forget, the issue of sponsor now has to do with somebody that is responsible for the welfare and everything that makes the players happy. You know, you are motivated off the pitch before you come into the pitch.
Yes.
Ojus Okalu was the instrument, was everything that made Enyimba perform well in the league. Ojus Okalu was buying players. They were having 3 number 9 that were excellent players. They have Freeboni Tejiri, Tony Alegbe, they have Andrew Ikomogbe, they have all the very best. Their coach was Gordon Kokouwa. They had everything. Even when the rest were leaving, Michael Oche, blessed moment, the late Michael Oche came. So I think in one aspect, sponsorship, you know, you are trying to say that sponsorship do not play the ball, yes, but it acts as a motivation, motivation off the pitch. Yes.
It's part of the football. Sponsorship is part of football. What I'm trying to say is that our league as a whole has played a very major role in terms of this. NPFL team not performing in CAF Champions League, because you cannot give out what you don't have. If you see the level of teams, like if you see, this is, they call it Champions League, CAF Champions, which means this is a league for champions in Africa. If you see Mamelodi Sundowns playing, even Pirates that were knocked out, if you see them, they have players play for the national team. They have foreign players, and you having foreign players that are good, and so that come to complement your own base players. Now, if Nigeria, in Nigerian league as a whole, we could not even produce one single player that went for Nations Cup, even if it meant sitting on the bench during the AFCON, then now, out of all our teams, Rivers United now, they have been the best Nigerian league team so far in the past few years. But where have they gotten to in the CAF Champions League? Nowhere. Why? Because there is no that quality that can compete with the rest in Africa. So when we were talking about Enyimba, even though yes, there was sponsor, Odds Kalu was sponsoring there, but we had quality players. We have what is it called? Even goalkeeper. Gela Enyimba was there.
Money bought them.
No, not about money.
Money bought them.
Yes,
They use money
money
to
bought
buy
them.
them. Yes.
You can have money.
Enyimba was leaving to Israel.
You
came
can have money and still not get success if you don't know how to channel the right money.
Yes, but let the money be there first.
See, Remo Stars have sponsors.
Yeah.
They must have somebody who understands football so well. You could have bought some best, even from Nigerian league. You understand? But because the league as a whole, the structure of the league as a whole is not working fine. When this guy play well, they decide to go to this North African or South African to go and collect bigger money, to go and play there because they feel like they will get exposed more. First of all, it's not only money that attracts sponsors. It's not only when you talk about branding. I mentioned about branding before. If you brand your league very well, if you brand your club side very well, for one, you attract sponsors. Two, you attract better have players, because every player, apart from money, there are some countries now that pay huge amount of money, but their leagues is not well exposed. But some countries, they don't even pay. See, some of these European countries, they don't even pay big money, so more than some of these African countries. There are many African countries that pay way higher than some European countries, but because these European countries, they have very good branding. They brand their team to the extent that even if you are playing in that club side, you would think that they are paying billions to those players. But why? They are branding their team because they want to use that branding to attract sponsors, one, and to market the player that they have. So now, if you are Remo Stars and you are Rivers United, you cannot brand your team very, very well. You cannot attract even the best legs in Nigerian league. See, if you get best good players, okay, where is Enyimba today now? Enyimba is nowhere to be found. Kanu Nwankwo is the chairman of Enyimba. What are they doing to Enyimba? Enyimba is languishing. They have sacked so many coaches up till now. So you can't tell me it's just about the money. No, they have at least quite a number of sponsors. But now, the players that they are recruiting, who is in charge of recruiting those players? Which type of players are you recruiting? Which type of players are you scouting? Are you getting my point now? When Manchester City in the EPL, there was a time Manchester City came to the Premier League, the World Premier League, against Man City, against Man U, against Arsenal, against bigger club. Are you telling me it was money that won that?
No. That's another different narrative. Man City was not in the picture then. You know, there too, they were just still struggling.
Man City was in the picture.
The heavyweight was Man U, Arsenal, Chelsea. Yes, they were basically the heavyweight in that time.
They were able to get players to their quality. Players that all these big club sides too, they go to buy players from somewhere. So the ability to scout good players matters so well for club side. Without compromise, the ability of a coach as well to assemble good players and produce results matters so well. If you qualify for CAF Champions League, now like Remo Stars and Rivers United did, how come they could not even get good players? Even if from Nigeria, from Togolese, from Benin, you can assemble good players that can at least play and perform to some extent. So it's not about sponsor, but our league have let us down so well. That league have let us down so, and then the mentality of the coaches of the league in our league has affected our Nigerian football so badly.
All right, nice thoughts on that. Stay glued to EVO Sport TV. We'll be back after this breather.